Hey friends, thank you for watching. The fight on the UFC 23 that I am UFC 273 that I'm most interested in watching is Shemaev against Burns. Wow, this is like a really interesting fight, and I could be wrong, but I think Shemaev is ranked number 11. Burns is ranked number 2, and Shemaev is a huge favorite. I think he is like minus 500, which is minus 500 is you have to like bet $500 in order to win 100. You know that's how crazy that is. So does Burns have a chance? I think Burns does have a chance. Burns has knockout power in his hands, and if you have a knockout power and your hands and those MMA gloves are small, well, anything can happen. But Shemaev is going to go for the takedown. I think Shemaev will be able to get the takedown. Well, Burns has been ranked pretty high in Abu Dhabi before. This isn't going to be one of those Shemaev takes him down, Shemaev gets the back, and then he wins by submission. Burns can actually defend himself on the ground. I don't think this fight is the mismatch that the odds makers make it. But then on the other hand, if I were you, I wouldn't bet on Burns because I think that Shemaev is going to win. But how crazy is it that someone number 11 ranked is so high? I mean, is there anyone that Shemaev would be an underdog against? Now, I personally would, if Usman fought Shemaev, I think Usman would win that fight. I think Shemaev has the ability to get past Colby. It's just that power of Usman. I think Usman would be able to keep the fight standing, and I think eventually Usman would catch him. But I tell you what, this is going to be a good fight. I think Sterling is going to lose to Jan, and Sterling will probably win round one, and then Jan will just build up momentum, and I see Sterling getting finished in probably the third or fourth round. Now, with Alexander the Great against the Korean Zombie, I would love for the Korean Zombie to win. I'm not really a big fan of Alexander the Great because I think Max Holloway defeated him in their second fight, but Alexander the Great got the nod from the judges. So when I look at it, I kind of look at Max Holloway as being the real champion, not Alexander the Great. Well, Alexander the Great's the real champion. He's the one that has the belt. But in my eyes, I favor Max. So I would like to see Alexander the Great getting a loss. Nothing against him. I don't think he has a questionable character. I don't know enough about him personally. I know a little bit about the Zombie. The Zombie's he's a stand-up guy, good guy, and I see Alexander being too quick for him. I see him, staying on the outside with leg kicks, maybe darting in and out. Maybe when he darts in, maybe the Zombie hits him with one of those uppercuts and hurts him. But I see Alexander playing it safe and probably going to maybe a 49-46 decision. Maybe he wins all rounds. Maybe it's 50-45. So nothing earth-shattering here. I think the favorites are favorites for a good reason. If I was going to look at all the favorites, and if I think that there's one line that might have a weakness, it's Burns against Shemaev. I just can't see Burns being that much of an underdog. I mean, this guy has a good record. I think he's only lost 4 fights, and one of those fights was against Usman. So it'll be interesting, but I think it's gonna be heavy favorites. Now, as far as Dern against Torres, that's another one that's really hard to call. Usually I have a pretty good grip on these, and although I'm wrong sometimes, or a lot of the times, at least I'm confident in my convictions before I'm proven wrong. I got a feeling that I think Mackenzie Dern's going to win the fight. and that's kind of a flippin', not a flippin', a toss-up fight. I think Tisha Torres, she only has one avenue to victory. I think Mackenzie Dern, she's got a couple more avenues to victory, and she's a bigger woman, stronger, a lot better grappler. But man, Tisha Torres has been in there with the best. She's she was in there with Rose. She was in there with Joanna. I mean, she's the I don't think she was in there with the Wang, but Wang Lee, but she was in there with Rose and Joanna. So her level of competition's a lot higher. I don't know. I think Mackenzie Dern, if she trains hard and she's conditioned and the weight cut's not hard for her, I think she'll win. But it's probably not smart to count Tisha Torres out. She's one of those that she can have a surprise performance. So, in the end, I don't think there's really value on any fighter. I think this is going to be a fun card to watch. Some exciting fights. I think Alexander's a little boring. I'm not really a big fan of watching him fight. Personally, I'm personally not going to buy the card. I only buy the card that I actually, like. And this just doesn't, these just aren't my favorite fighters. Now, I like Shemaev and I like Burns. Maybe that was for a championship, but it's a feature fight. Anyway, the UFC, it's not the expense that has me. I mean, it is expensive. Too expensive. Especially when football is, if you just have a cable provider or a dish provider, you can watch it. But man, the UFC, not only is it expensive for match, but it's so late. And on a Saturday night, with church the next day, I don't want to stay up that late and watch these fights. I'm on East Coast time. I really wish these fights were earlier. And I know it might not be fair for people in the Pacific. I wish they would make the main events. A lot of people don't care about the undercards that much. I kind of wish they would move the main event maybe an hour back so people on the East Coast wouldn't have to stay up so late. But anyway, that's my short, unprofessional review of UFC 273. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.